Let's hear from our race winner of today's 28th annual Cheez-It 355 at the Glen NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race here at Watkins Glen International. And the winner is Kyle Busch. He drove the number 18 M&M's Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. He's joined by his crew chief Dave Rogers.
Spit it out, Kerry.
And team president J.D. Gibbs. This is Kyle's 27th win in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, his third win in 2013. He's currently fifth in points, and his second victory and eighth straight top 10 finish here at Watkins Glen. And congratulations, Kyle. This has to be, a win that you'll cherish for a while, because you really came on there the last part of that race, held off a hard-charging Brad Keselowski, got that third win, which will be very, very important when we reset the chase field.
Yeah, it was certainly beneficial to win a race here before the chase starts, to get some more bonus points. I feel like we're in a good position to make the chase, and it just helps our seeding. So, but overall today, I mean, the guys did a great job this weekend. Dave and everybody that worked on the car, they did a good job for me. I appreciate that. And all year long, I mean, I appreciate their effort. They've done a great job. They've worked really, really hard. And, today was just, the fruits of their labor, being able to get up front and lead those laps there towards the end of the race, and then be able to win there at the end. So some close calls, some tense moments there, racing with Truex a little bit that one time through the S's and into the inner loop. That was fun. Interesting. I thought I could outbreak him, but then he broke same as I did, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun. And we banged off each other a little bit there, but no harm, no foul, and kept going. And then there are just all those cautions at the end. I felt like our car was definitely better on the long runs. It seemed like I could stretch it out once we got a few laps going. But they're on cold tires. It really wouldn't turn too well for me. So struggling a little bit with that, but was able to hold off, the guys that are hungry behind us.
And crew chief Dave Rogers certainly on a race like today and throughout this weekend, a lot of things you probably need to do to get the car to run better. But talk about, maybe you got here, you practiced Friday, although it was abbreviated practice due to the weather, and then qualified yesterday. Maybe just talk about the progress that was made that helped culminate in this victory here today.
Yeah, we had a good baseline from last year. We ran real strong, but the guys back at the shop did a nice job. They built us a brand new car to road course race this year. And then all the guys in practice executed really well. This is one of those races where you could take yourself out by not dotting your I's and crossing your T's. So the guys did a great job. I guess I probably always feel like I miss the setup, but I really feel like I missed it a little bit today. And Kyle just overcame, changed what he was doing in the car, and made it happen. And got faster as the race went. Our fastest laps were at the very end of the race, which is what you're looking for. So hats off to Kyle for bringing it home for the M&M's Camry.
And J.D., certainly the 18 car, Kyle Busch, certainly asserted itself today. And with 4 races to go now in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup, that you got to feel good about how this 18 car is performing right now.
Yeah, I do think Dave and Kyle really connect well. And it's funny, when I get on the pit box and kind of go back and forth with the teams, like Dave calls the race, Kyle's in the car, the pickers, setting the car up, and the guys are working. I don't do anything. And I know if you ask Kyle, he goes, I'm the same way at the shop too. But the reality of it is, to watch these guys do what they do is just it's impressive. And week in, week out, it means a lot to Joe Gibbs Racing and all our partners.
Certainly a big win today, and number 18 M&M's Toyota was very strong throughout the afternoon, particularly there at the end when it mattered the most. We'll take questions now for Kyle, Dave, or J.D. We'll start right here and go Lee and then to Reed.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. After what transpired last year, what did you expect from Brad on the last lap? Or were you just, had you guys talked it out? Did you think he'd race you clean? Or were you surprised that he just let you guys finish?
All those thoughts ran through my head, so I really had no clue. It was just run as hard as you can, drive your car, try not to worry about what's behind you. Whatever happens, and we'll deal with it. But I'd commend Brad for doing a better job this year at bringing home a cleaner race, and I felt like we ran hard. We ran really hard there those last couple laps. I couldn't get away from him. My car wouldn't turn through the corners as well as I needed it to. I just couldn't get the front tires to bite, and so he could catch me through the corners. But the braking zones and exiting the corners, I felt like I was really strong on and could get away from him. I think what saved the race probably for us was just the launch I got out of the carousel. I got about a 2-car length gap on him getting down into turn 6, kept it about a half-car gap through 6, and then on 7 he was on me. But if he was any closer, getting into 6, he probably could have outbroke me and probably doored me or whatever and been able to pass me. But it was fun, and glad it worked out the way it did for me anyway.
We'll go Reed, then we'll go Jeff, and then over to Chris.
Reed Spencer for the NASCAR Wire Service. This one's for Dave. Seemed like the race really turned around when you got Kyle onto pit road right as the yellow came out and essentially got track position there, got Ambrose back in 12th, I believe, for the restart. Were you trying to get him in as quickly as possible, even if it meant maybe sacrificing something for a green-white checker?
Yeah, that's a good question. Our lap times were up this year, so we thought our fuel mileage was off. We got Reed earlier, but Kyle was doing a good job of saving fuel under yellow, so we weren't sure exactly where we were fuel mileage wise. So we were going to push to lap 60, and I actually got to give credit to my 2 engineers. I got talking, and they saw some people sliding around, and Steve Holger, one of my engineers, said, "Man, I think there's fluid on the track. You better get him in." So it was a last-minute call to pull him down on lap 59. Just heads-up play by Steve and Chris and the work them guys are doing on the pit box. But it was a last-minute call, get Kyle on pit road, and next you know, there was a caution. So worked out great.
Over to Jeff, and then we'll go to Chris.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. I'm just wondering how a race like today changes how you view another competitor. Because obviously last year, same situation, you were really upset with them because you felt like he should have cut you more of a break. And then this year, he could have done it, but he doesn't for whatever reason. So now do you look at that and are you like, oh, maybe he's not so bad, or do you not know how to view it? Or like how do you judge that?
It's a tough question. I mean, certainly, when you get wrecked by somebody, you're not all too happy with it. But then when you come with races like this, and you come towards the end of the race and a guy can get in the back of you and spin you out, I guess, you cut that guy a little bit more slack maybe the next time you race him. But, I was at a short track race in Canada this weekend, and there was a guy behind me, he root and gouged me a little bit a couple times and then had a chance and could have wrecked me, for the win, but didn't do it. That's what you try to race as best you can, as clean as you can, and get the win for yourself and not by moving people out of the way. And, that's where the real talent comes in. There's not much talent in just driving through somebody and then taking a checker flag that way.
Let's go over to the left, Chris.
For the panel, when that caution did come out and you saw the 9 way back there, just what was your thought process after that happened?
Well, Dave told me he was going to restart about 10th or 12th, something like that. And I was like, okay, well, we'll see how he comes up through here and how much he wiggles his way back up towards the front and how quickly he can get there and not waste his stuff. When I was running 5th early in the race, there was Boyer, Truex, and then Allmendinger right in front of me. And I was doing everything I could to hang with those guys. I'd fall off of them about, half a second back. And then I'd be like, all right, I'm going to run on them hard here for a lap and see if I can't pick a spot on the track and get by them. And I could get close, but then I couldn't really get by them. So it took me a little bit to pass some of those guys in front of me. And it was hard to pass. But you really had to be strategic about it. And, I don't know if Ambrose made his way back up through the field at all, if he made up any ground. I did see him finally get towed up there through the S's on one of those cautions. But, it's just it's a lot easier to maintain your equipment and everything else by when you're out front.
Other questions? Raise your hand. We'll go right here with Joe.
Thanks, Kerry. Joe Mink from the Star Gazette. Running the 90 laps out there, I'm talking again to Kyle. The Gen 6 car, how did that handle today on a road course with all the turns and all the things that are different than the ovals?
Yeah, it's okay. It's I think there's a couple things that us drivers would like to see a little bit better, but it has a lot of grip. It has, it's tough to say. It has more grip just because it has more speed. We see that, but you really don't feel the grip necessarily because you still are sliding. You're still to the edge of the tire. You're still, manhandling a 3,400-pound stock car around here as best you can. So the biggest thing, though, is just here at Watkins Glen, I think you feel a little bit more of the aero effects than we did at Sonoma, which weren't terrible. NASCAR helped us out. They gave us a couple inches more on the spoiler for, for turning to the rights because our cars don't quite have the side force they need when you do turn to the right. But I think that was a benefit. Any more than that, I don't know. I think that, sometimes when you ask for too much, it doesn't put on as good of a race. So I think all in all, it was pretty good with what we got.
Let's go over here to John.
John Kikish with the Associated Press. Kyle, can you describe your emotions at the finish line, considering what's happened the last 2 years?
Relief, and a big sigh of relief, just a deep breath, just like, whew. I didn't even say anything until I got over the backstretch. I was just trying to take it all in and figure it all out. But, last couple of years here have been tough, and today it could have been tough again. But we were raced clean, and we put on a good show, I feel like. So we've had fast cars here. I wouldn't say we deserve it, but, we felt like we deserved to win here and just haven't quite been able to put it all together when it matters. So today we did that. I got some good restarts. I was able to get clear of those guys, getting into turn one and off of turn one, be by myself so I could run the S's as I needed to and, set sail.
I think Bob had a question, and then we'll go to this gentleman right here.
Bob Parker, Sporting News. That was kind of my question. I mean, does this make up for the last 2 years, or can nothing really make up, especially for last year?
No, nothing ever really makes up for it. I'll never get the trophies at my house, and I won't have the win that it took to get into the chase for last year. So, nothing ever makes up for lost things, I guess, things taken from you, however you want to put it. But this is certainly a sweet victory. I mean, for this year, for what we've been doing, so from February of 13, this has been a good year for us. Dave and the guys have really worked hard, and everybody at the shop, all our engineering staff, and JD, who's worked really hard of being able to give us good stuff that we could come out here and put on good shows for the fans, but also do well for our race team and for M&M's and Toyota and Interstate Batteries, Monster Energy, everybody that's a part of this program.
Go ahead, sir.
Seems like every year there's been a little hot spot at Watkins Glen, of activity, and it looks like the S's was it this year. And I'm curious did the Gen 6 car play any into this, the extra speed? I saw, I don't know about Jeff Gordon, but he had slid off the track outside of the S's on his own, like he was carrying a lot of speed. And I talked to Ron Fellows, and he was fighting for real estate at the top of the S's there and got into a car. Is this just, we haven't seen that much activity in the S's before. Mm-hmm. And I'm just wondering if the extra speed now with a new car, is it putting it more, is the car more on edge through there, or, what do you think?
Yeah, the car's definitely more on edge through there for sure than what we've been in years past. And I don't know the answer to that because we've got more downforce, so you would think that it would feel better. I've driven Grand Am cars. I haven't driven one here, but I get the sense of how they would feel. They just feel stuck to the ground with more downforce. But when I was in a Gen 6 car, which I was today, but when I was racing behind those guys that were in front of me, those three cars I mentioned earlier, I had a hard time. I could make ground up on them through the S's, but man, I was out of control. I was sliding through there for everything I had, just trying to keep the pedal down and make up ground on them. And then it was really hard to do. And it seemed like when you were out front, it was a little bit better. But man, when you were a little further back in some traffic, I think it surprised a lot of guys just how much grip there is to be had through the S's, and if your car was set up for it or not set up for it, could change a lot of that characteristic for you.
Do you think there was more of a punch on the Gen 6? I mean, in the previous car, you wouldn't have noticed quite that much.
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's downforce. I don't know if it's rear cambers. I don't know if it's just the different tire that we have here this year. It's a green compound, and so all of those could have played into it.